it's been a nightmare. Basically wedding planners have initially tried to reschedule weddings, and then we had more delays. So basically I would say more than 80% of all weddings have been postponed in some way. And in some cases, some of them went ahead and went through with it, but they had more virtual weddings with very small number of people.
And
So.
obviously, it's not just the ceremony. A lot goes into it. There are multiple vendors. There are a lot of domino effects. Talk about some of these other secondary markets that are also affected by all these cancellations and delays.
Yes, you're talking about a number of different vendors that are involved in a wedding, everywhere from, catering, photography, videography. So, basically, if a business is doing nothing but weddings, their income is basically, really slashed to the bare bone right now. The only thing that they have would be, deposits. So those that have diversified and maybe are doing virtual events are probably doing pretty well right now. So.
Now, I see behind you a picture of David Chitera. They're obviously well known for planning these big celebrity weddings. But unfortunately, we are seeing a downward trend in US marriages. We saw the rate fall 6% in 2018, with 6.5 new unions formed for every 1,000 people. Now, that was before the pandemic. How do you see that now affecting during the pandemic and perhaps afterwards?
Well, I think you will see fewer number of weddings this year, but I basically think that they will just be postponed, or they may look a little bit differently. I really feel like the weddings will be smaller in numbers. It's going to be quite different.
And I also
budgets will be slashed.
Now, we've seen a lot of social media giants getting in on the action. How do you see them and some of these streaming services capitalizing now on this need to have these socially distanced and virtual weddings?
Well, I can tell you already, a friend of mine, Godfather Films from California, has already seen an increase in live streaming. So they have seen an increase in their business. So yeah, definitely there's going to be a lot of streaming of weddings because they won't be able to invite everyone to the wedding. So yes, that's definite.
Now, I do want to talk about something that does tend to come up when people are planning for their wedding, which is their finances, not just for the wedding, but obviously for the marriage itself. How difficult is this to try and navigate when people are very uncertain about what their finances might hold during this pandemic?
Yes, it makes it quite difficult. Like I said, most of the people have postponed their weddings. People are just going to wait it out and see in the coming months and see how things go. But like I said, people will still get married no matter what the circumstances. They might have smaller budgets. They might even have a lower number of guests. But it will eventually happen. It just might be different.
And we have seen that in California, they're allowing more video conference weddings. What other sorts of ways are you seeing technology being introduced to this? And do you think perhaps it could be there for the long haul, even after the pandemic?
Yeah, it's funny. I noticed that a wedding makeup artist, ways to diversify their business, they're doing a lot of Zoom meetings. She's also teaching people how to do makeup online and making classes. So you actually may see wedding professionals also offering classes on how they can do services. People can learn these services themselves.